Hello, everyone. This is my third take. Fuck me. What? Know what? We're just gonna leave it in. And I'm gonna just edit in that other bit. Fuck it. So, yeah, no. Last time we left off. Well, no, I'm not starting a new video, Jermaine, you dumb fuck. Anyway, we're gonna start things off. Since Nezu was getting Izuku was getting Nezu's memories of basically his time in isolation and capture, Izuku's kind of been depressed. And he now is extremely wary of the white coats, i.e. the doctors. But the interesting thing about this entire thing is basically anytime Izuku's zoned out or just in general just not paying attention to his surroundings, he's basically going through that shit. Just slowly but surely absorbing information. And like when he's done, which takes like about a week, right? Like Izuku and like all of his peers, it's like last year of like high school. They're about to sorry, not high school, that's stupid. Last time I said it was a college. Of college, right? And like Izuku's feeling great. He's no longer fucking chronically depressed. And it's his mother's birthday, so what he ends up doing, he ends up going to a cake shop, right? Just going to basically a Jewel Osco. Or nah, he cares about his mother more than that. He goes to like his local bakery because he pre-ordered a cake for Inko, right? And he gets the cake and he gets going. He gets to walking. And unknowing to him, his father brought her a cake. But yeah. Yeah, so Inko's gonna have 2 cakes, technically. But, as Izuku makes it to the house, he sees everything seemingly going swimmingly. He grabs the door and he opens it. And he realizes something. Why the fuck was the door unlocked? And he doesn't hear anything. What the fuck? And he just starts like almost like mindlessly, right? Stops. And as I was watching him during this, right? He goes into the house, leaving the front door wide open. And begins looking around. There has clearly been a struggle of some kind. And a note. He then proceeds to set the cake on the counter, picks up said note, and instead of reading it, he sniffs it. He sniffs deep, and then he walks up over to the couch, starts sniffing things. Aizawa doesn't know what's happening, why the door is wide open. Is he expecting someone behind him? Or what? Right. And then Izuku finds what his mother usually wears. Perfume. Gets a slight smell of that shit. And he knows he is ready to pick up the trail. He then proceeds to unwrap the small little cake box he had, sets it on the table, walks out, locks the door, smells the note again. He knows that these are two different scents of his mother and his father and Shoji, like no one else has been here. He hasn't read the note. And then he opens it up. If you want your family again, you will comply. Let me tell you something. Like that. You might ask, what do you mean? Simple. The nemesis is kicking in. It's hunting time. So, Izuku sees that there's slight screech marks in his driveway as well. As he walks over to them, rubs his fingers on it, gets a sniff. There's faint smells of his mother, his father, and these people that were there. And he just nods to himself and begins following the road where he could smell them. He slowly begins to turn it into a jog, and then a sprint, and then a dash, and then some points he starts hopping buildings. Aizawa realizes the strange behavior and decides, you know what, no. Something's clearly wrong. So he waits behind Izuku, goes into the house, because Izuku left the note back in the house, right? And it said, if you want to see your parents alive, you will comply. Signed, Shiggy. And no one knows who Shigaraki is still. And Bakugo in his cell, right, feels a strong urge, like he's in Tartarus at this point. He just feels a strong urge to break out, right? Like I have something more important to do. I must go. And during the time, Nemesis is still out of commission, right? Well, actually, no. The info gathering was stopped. So, yeah, no. By the way, Nezu, dead. That transfer of information would have killed him. And it did. And he was an animal, so he basically fed that to the Nomu as biomass. So the Nomu got bigger, slightly, like an inch. But, the Nomu and Mr. X, they're following underneath the sewers. Like in the sewers, right? And Izuku, jumps onto a building's rooftop and begins to just inhale. Just looks around calmly and sees a van. That van proceeds to pull up into a warehouse. Aizawa did call this in. And at this point, there are police and other heroes trying to track wherever the fuck Izuku is. Once they get eyes on Izuku, it's too late. Right, because his mid-air slamming into a fucking warehouse. House through the roof. Onto a van. And, specifically onto the fucking engine block. The van was at a complete stop. People were starting to get out. Fucking next thing you know, the roof fucking breaks. And what falls through is just this. Izuku, who, baring his teeth, yellow eyes, and nothing else. He looks fucking mad. And before these goons essentially had any time to say anything, fucking tentacles enter their skulls and shit. And Inko and them, were in front of the car, right? Tied to chairs. And they watched their son just kill these two people. Just flat. And Izuku proceeds to just fucking... There were 6 dudes. And those are not people anymore. They are infected corpses. Right? And then Izuku just casually walks up to his mother and father, picks them up off the chairs and says, "We're going home." And home, you know what? And he just stops. He begins to hear sirens approaching. And he says, "Well, I didn't think I would have to do this early. This sucks." And he's like, What are you talking about, Izuku? What? The father and the mother are just stunned, right? Inko and Nazashi, fucking minds blown. And what Izuku does is pretty simple. He walks outside with both of them. Now, Aizawa is about to attempt to engage Izuku. And what Izuku does is something kind of bold, but he knows it'll work. He throws both of his mother and his father directly at Aizawa. And Aizawa chose to save civilians or get the bad guy. Aizawa is Aizawa. He makes the right decision. He saves the civilians. During that time frame, Izuku has jumped off in an opposite direction, towards a sewer drain, pops that bitch open, gets in, and is gone. Right? And once they calm everything down and they start trying to cordon shit off, after Inko basically says, "Oh, he killed 6 people in there." What? There aren't people in there. What do you mean there are people in there? Because the 6 dudes got up and walked away. That's what happened. They had instructions. They proceeded to follow. Izuku, punctured their heart, caused a fucking parasite to form, a fully mature one, and just kind of latched on. You know what I'm saying? Granted, it was fast, Jesus. It was mere milliseconds, and those fuckers, were completely underneath control of the virus. But Izuku has gotten significantly better at infecting people, especially after the Nezu incident, and him having much more knowledge. During this time frame, Katsuki finally stops, like, and composes himself almost. Because he was knocked unconscious by a fucking guard because he broke out of his cell. Katsuki doesn't know what the fuck is going on. People think Katsuki had a psychic break when all reality, Izuku is fucking controlling him on accident. Because he was in fucking kill everything in that general vicinity if need be to save mother and father. And Izuku's like kind of fucking pissed because he didn't expect having to go into hiding to do what he needed to do. He thought he could just do it out in the open. Right? Like he gives a fuck. Like he's about to go to juvie for that shit. No. Not juvie, fucking... You know what I mean. So when it comes down to it, Izuku seemingly just fucking vanished. He just Houdini and just gone. And Izuku knows where meetings are held by the commissioner of the Hero Association, Aizawa, All Might, and the once member, Nezu. And, Izuku goes there. Very sneakily, actually. He, how do I explain this? He goes in there via the vents, right? He condenses his body, like his muscles in his body, and makes himself smaller. It takes a little bit, but he knew what he was doing. And just starts slithering through the vents like a fucking sneaky bastard. Finds the room, well, right outside of it. Comes down out of the vent, transforms into its full size, and just sits and waits. As All Might, the commissioner, and Aizawa get in the room, they were all basically in a group. Izuku's just sitting there, looking at them like, hello. Just flat. No emotion. No care. Hello. As the three of them just kind of look and make eye contact. Please sit. I insist. And as that happens, the building, right? The building's technological advancements, such as it just basically goes into lockdown. I implore you to have a conversation. After all, it's not like there's anything better to do. All of them sit down begrudgingly. And he's like, yes, I understand. For some reason, my mother thought that I killed some people. The same with my father, which is truthfully unaware and just not right. After all, if I did kill someone, where did the bodies go? They're like, how did you know about this? Shh. I don't care what you want to know. What I care about is showing facts and evidence to prove that I am not a murderer. At least for now. Well, not for now. You understand, I killed someone when I was like Not even a year old. Hell, not even 2 days. Literally 15 minutes. I killed a man. And you know how I slept afterwards? Like a fucking baby. But you know what's funny, right? I find it hilarious that some little shit thinks that they could basically try to kill my mother and force me to work for him. And it's like, who are you talking about? Well, don't you know Toshi? He's the one that gave you that big ass shiner on your fucking right side, or right or left side. All my sides are just fucking wide, as well as everyone else in the room. And it's like, oh yes, it is blatant. I knew you had an injury, but I didn't think it would be that severe, All Might. But it makes sense. The old don't stop getting older. It's a damn shame, really. You would have been useful in a good couple years. Nezu was right, you know. I haven't even lost teeth since I was a baby. I am immortal. And to be quite honest with you, you're not gonna get rid of me that easy. So, if you truly think that some half-assed, ham-fisted attempt at a fight, and he just looks at All Might directly, is gonna do much, go ahead and throw a punch at full strength and try to knock my head off like you tried to do with All for One. You know, the person that is now trying to bribe me to, I assume, give him a quirk, which I find fucking hilarious. If only he knew. If only he knew. But regardless. Ladies, gentlemen, how has your night been? Personally, as he stands up, pours himself a scotch, I have been doing much better now that I know that my mother and father are in witness protection. But now that I know that some arrogant little shit thinks that he could play God with quirks, that might be fun. It's like, fun? What the fuck you mean fun? Oh, to kill him. After all, your legal system is so fucking stupid. More times often than not, I could just walk away from most charges. But I'll probably kill this all-for-one fellow, given the fact that All Might fucking failed. And failed so hard, too. He got injured by essentially, basically doing nothing to him. Let alone all the people, as he picks up a remote controller and turns on the projector behind him and begins flashing the faces of all the people that died during the all-for-one fight. Because that was in a fucking city place. That was in a city. There is no way in hell that people did not die there. And it was all because one arrogant, blonde piece of shit decided that Nana Shimoda would want you to not be a hero. Want you to kill a man in sin for some ham-fisted attempt at revenge. How fucking cute. As he finishes that, All Might buffs up and fucking launches at him. Izuku just fucking grabs him. Like, just fucking fist hand grab and just crushes his fucking hand. And I don't mean that slow shit. Nah, Izuku's not trying to be vindictive. Izuku's trying to make a fucking point. Izuku fucking turns this man's fucking fist into jelly. It's goo. This man's fingers just became fucking beefy ragu, right? That's just not it. That ain't his fucking hands anymore. All Might, as a normal person would do, would fall to the ground screaming because someone just fucking smushed his hand. And Izuku's just like, oh, stop being a fucking pussy. He snaps his fingers, and his hand begins to regenerate. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. We all know what happened. We all know what just happened. And he's just like, oh, what the fuck? And Izuku's just like, oh, shut up. Stand up. And go take a fucking seat, you big, blubbering fucking baby. As All Might, like, tries to say something, he just stops, goes, like, fucking slack-jawed, stands up, walks to his seat, sits down, and the look of surprise goes across his face, like, what the fuck just happened? And Izuku's just like, what's wrong, All Might? Did you go lightheaded? Because you weren't expecting to do what you were told. You see, All Might, there's a way to troubleshoot things that no one understands better than me. Please, allow me to demonstrate. Oh, wait. As he, like, fucks up the snap first time and fucking hits that shit second, what crawls out of the vent is Mr. X. And he says, do you all know who this man is? That is the man that I killed when I was a child. He has all the memories of that man. And every single thing that makes him him. That makes him human. But better. You see, I am tired of all y'all's bullshit. You have been watching me for years. This is not a question or an ask. It's me telling you to fuck off. It's not a question anymore. Seriously, it isn't. And as he says that, fucking 2 tentacles burst from All Might's left arm and stab into Aizawa and the commissioner's shoulder. And almost immediately, Nemesis would dash forward and grab both of their mouths, as stopping the scream to fully come out. And he says, shut your mouth. Let me finish. What I offer you is not only a chance to do good by me, is to do good by the world, friends. I give you a chance to make lemons into lemonade. My question is, would you take it? If every man, woman, and child grew up in a world where there was no evil, where there was no prejudice, none at all, not even the slightest of debates or anything else, just facts and fiction, truths and false, lies and truths, honesty and policy. That is what I extend to you. And it's not me asking. Like I said before, it is a demand. And sadly, now that I have been put in this position, I believe I have much power. After all, Toshinori Yagi. Give me the quirk. After all, you can't give consent when you're dead. But, the best thing is, when, certain pheromones are ticked off in your brain, you act differently. You are more agreeable. Overly agreeable, in fact. Thank you for the hair. And the hair melds into his bare hand. And it begins to metabolize. But now, all of you, please, be quiet and feel the knowledge. And as both, well, all three of them get fucking blasted by the knowledge of Izuku and Nezu and the man who is now Mr. X and the fucking Nomu and those 6 other guys, just all of them fucking get hit with the fucking railway of knowledge. And they don't understand what happened. They now understand why Izuku's doing this. He wants a form of freedom. But more importantly, he wants utopia. A land where, to be perfectly honest, people laugh, dance, sing, make merry with their mothers and fathers. Love blooms and hatred smolders until, as a fire, it slowly ceases. Izuku has found a way to become almost an epicenter, a hive mind. A form of intellectual superiority that will not only make sure that his mother and father will be safe, but everyone will be. But first, they must deal with a threat. Not to the world, but to one woman and one man Inco Midoriya.